Sending positive energy. Welcome to Universal Journey Talk. I am your host, Kirk, with my brother Eric. What's going on, buddy? Hey. All right. We're going to be talking about 2020, about awakenings and about change. But first of all, I guess to kind of get people more familiar with our channel. So this is what me and my brother do. We pretty much get really deep about things and stuff that we've gone over through the years. I guess for speaking for myself, just like a little bit quick background, I was very religious or very strict religious growing up, where it seems my brother kind of took a very different path and was more trying to seek out his own directions and stuff. So for me, I kind of would like kind of just go by whatever was told to me by like our leaders and things like that and stuff, where I think Eric was more kind of kind of trying to find his own way. And it was really, really awesome because then for a long time, even like for myself, I had like a lot of frustrations in life and this and that and stuff, and things didn't make sense, and it was because I wasn't really being open. And then where Eric, on the other hand, was really exploring and doing different things and stuff and really trying to find what happened. So it just seemed like over time, we would start to talk a lot more. And it was actually really, really helpful. And I thank you for a lot of it. You really helped me to understand and realize that there's way more going on out there in the universe and different things like that, that people really need to do, because it helps open up your mind, makes you more free, helps you have better understanding. And to be able to, find, more peace, more happiness. I really have to say I'm so much more happier now that you kind of opened up the floodgates for me having different understandings that I never was, open to before. So now here we are in 2020, and, a lot of people clearly, there's a lot of things to be depressed about and things like that. I can, I'm sure we all know, different people, and not to downplay anyone else's situation, but the thing is, it's, are you going to let this world and everything, in it kind of take you down and then become part of, down this, spiral of negativity and stuff, or how do you transcend it and how do you become, better? Because I'll say this, for myself, yeah, I mean, clearly it's not, the best year, but I'll tell you, me and my wife, we're really pretty happy. And it's because of our understandings that we've been, learning throughout the years and stuff, and that you too, Eric, have been like, kind of like, showing us and different things. So like, I've got like a friend of mine, on Facebook, he's always posting like, 2020 sucks and blah, 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 and this and that. And overall, like I said, he's a nice guy, but he's just so negative. And, and when I see it, I swear, like, I don't see him that much, and, as I used to and stuff with COVID and everything. But it's like, I swear, any single time I see pictures of him or this and that or whatever and stuff, or I happen to see him, around the area, it's like he looks worse and more miserable and more this and that. And I'm like, that's not the way to live, man. And, even though we're all in this scenario, we can all have a way to flourish from it. So I guess that's, pretty much what, why I think, like, you and I like to sit and talk, because it's like, yeah, we're all going, through this situation, in the world, but still, there's so many ways to flourish and to move forward and to be happy. I've been together now with, my wife a little bit over 25 years now. And I will say this, if it wasn't for me, talking with you a lot and different things that you would come to new, understandings of, I don't know, it definitely really helped us to help us expand our minds and stuff like that. So anyway, that's pretty much like where I was going to take it from there. Now, I just wanted to bring this up when last you and I were talking. We were talking about the 2020, and we didn't have a lot of time to talk, whatever and stuff at that time. And now you were saying this stuff about like 2020 and what it means, and by the way, I just refer to Eric as the allegorist, because allegory is kind of like, it's about finding the deeper meaning in things and stuff, and methods on how to do it, and and understandings. And I don't think allegorist is a real word, but we're making it a real word now. So, but I mean, you know what? Over the years, you've kind of like really, really fine tuned, your ways of navigating that. So, I wanted to kind of get back into that. Like, what were you? Because remember, you were saying stuff about 2020 and what it means and all this other stuff, and we didn't really get a chance to get into it.
Right. I mean, like everybody, has different interpretations, but as far as like astrology, you know what I mean. And it's not that I'm not an astrologist, but a lot of it has to do with numerology. And in 2020, it's a number 4 number anyway to begin with. 2 plus 2, obviously, and 4. The number is foundation, stability, and so it's everybody. Like in this time, it was a tough year. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of reasons for that. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna go into all of them, but it's really a time that there's is a shift. Just like like you see some of these transits and things going on, like Jupiter and Mars, and some of these shifts hasn't happened in like 800 years or so. You know what I mean? And then you said there's always this like alchemy and understanding our mind, and how like the universe is like it would be part of the let's say God's mind, or but we're all connected to every aspect in many dimensions and realms, and it's all connected. So these shifts mean something, whether it's by astronomically speaking, or even biblically or revelations, but just a numerology, the number 4, it means something. And really, as we're going through this great shift, a change of some sort, this is going to be setting a foundation, which you've seen. And a lot of times when a shift goes, like it's kind of like when there's a new beginning of something coming in, or a shift or a new energy, it can be looked at as like the black sheep. But if you like your friend, maybe a lot of people see 2020 as something negative. You know what I mean? And I understand it. Hey, it's not easy for me too. I'll be the first one to admit it. But usually, like anything, if we look at a positive side, and we believe in, or at least look at things maybe a little more consciously, or be a little conscious minded, it does tend to be a positive side to everything, because that's yin yang. No matter what, it depends on our perspective and our perception of how we look at something. Because in the end, if we can kind of all look at it in some way, we're all pretty much experiencing in some ways the same thing, or we're all basically looking at the same mountain, but just from different angles.
Right.
And so when we understand it with this year, there's going to be a lot. Anytime with change, or what I mean, there's going to be. It can seem it's not always a picnic. It's a lot of releasing things to set a good foundation. So a lot of times, if you got a house, but you're going to build a new one, you got to knock the old one down, and sometimes that could seem it could be hard, and maybe a lot of memories or whatever. There's a reason, but when you need to build it and set a new strong foundation, it needs to be done. And so number 4 is stability or foundation, and it's a lot of it has to do with that. But I would say that maybe looking at the positive side of this, you're not always 2020 sucks and this and that. But look at the good. I mean, look at the environment. Look at there's things that are happening. There is a positive side, and people are starting to wake up and see things that where it's good to question things, and it does. Some things are imminent, like there really has to be a chance. There really has to be a real foundation, and a lot of that foundation is to know what's really going on. You know what I mean? And it could be even a lot of stuff, like a lot of weird stuff going on, like or like the what is it, the general of Israel, saying that how there's aliens and stuff, things that people be like, huh, or that the military been involved with. But a lot of things will come out in many ways, and with everything that's been going on, or whether it's COVID or whatever, people are also learning to different ways of how to move forward, and maybe not so much consumption, and how to maybe spend a little more time at home, friends, family, and relatives, and actually how important that is, and how So there's a lot of things, what I mean. So it depends how you look at good or bad, but really, 2020 was a foundation, and now we're going in 2021, which is number 5, and that number 5 is change and a pivot point. So we're gonna definitely it's gonna be a lot of change going on, and I gotta have faith that most of it's gonna be positive in the end.
Right. So this is my thing, like, and I think that that's kind of like where I was kind of going with this. It's just that, like that word, like awakening and stuff. It's that I think it's hard to, in other words, it's hard sometimes to really think of like, well, what is waking up and awakening? Because for me, I know personally, in part, some of the ways that is because like I was kind of more like, well, this is the way things are and stuff for a very long time in my life. And then it was kind of more like, I started to realize how much I don't know, and then there's also once you kind of get to that part where you realize, man, like, I kind of thought I knew a lot, and then you start to realize how much you don't know, how much the universe, and how much, and even like manifesting, I didn't know anything about that really, and how important that is. What's up?
It's good, and I don't mean to cut. It's good that you say how much you don't know. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'll get back into that, but that's a good thing that part of a lot of times having an awakening is because we're always having awakenings, really. An awakening is a glimpse, and rather you're conscious of it or not. You know what I mean? So when you recognize that you don't know everything, and that maybe, once you like, if you want to remember who you really are, in a sense, is to forget about everything that society has told you to be. And I read that somewhere, and that's the truth. So when you really think about like starting over, starting a clean slate, and a lot of things that you would really, it's almost like having an awakening, or just really, it's almost the same as really basically you come to, or maybe a realization at some point where you're just paying attention. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
Because a lot of times it's the power is in the present. You know what I mean? That's where the gift is. You know what I mean? So if we're always dwelling in the past or worrying about the future, then it's hard to be present, and that's where the power is. Or all these other everybody else or gurus talk about. Or Eckhart Tolle, the power of now. He's talking about the present.
Right.
A lot of times you stay present, eventually it adds an added dimension. So it's really about realizing you don't know everything, and be willing to, and that to try to understand things, maybe not so literally, but maybe allegorically, and like two different dimensions of it. And then maybe a lot of times being passionate about certain things and asking questions, and to want to learn something new, or something that speaks more truth, or that you resonate with. Eventually that in itself probably would open up maybe a big change like a super awakening of some sort. You know what I mean? Which happens. I think I've experienced it in many ways myself.
Yeah. But, that actually was kind of like where I was going with it too. Is that I was this is going back a long time ago, but it's like it's very easy to kind of get caught up in the things that are going on, whatever, in your life or in the world. Like we got, like now the shift with, politics with Trump and Biden and stuff. A lot of angry people on either side, you know what I mean? Whatever and stuff. I'm not that as much politically, involved and stuff, whatever, because to me, a lot of it I feel is, it's just like kind of just staged, and really there's a much higher, stuff going on that is really tinkering. But anyway, but even still, it's, we have to still deal and live in this world where politics affects everything that we do. You know what I mean? Whatever and stuff, and how we live our life, and what is good for us, and or what they're taking away, or what they're giving us, and all that stuff. So regardless whether you're involved or not, it's still going to affect you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
it exists definitely.
exactly.
You know what I mean? It's real.
Right. But here's the thing. And kind of going back to where like I realize how much I don't know, you know, I'll once again, like, you know, I've got like some you know some very strong opinionated, you know, friends. I'm sure we all do, and they're like, you know, like almost demonizing other people, where it's like, well, if you're for this side or you're for that side, you know, you might as well be a, you know, with Hitler or something like that, and like really like labeling and stuff. And I'm like, whoa, how can you get that angry, and how can you decide who's right and who's wrong? Because, and once again, I look at my life, and there was a time when I thought, because of my, you know, religious background, that no, I'm right. Anyone else that says anything, whatever and stuff, well, they need to talk to me, and I'll correct them. And then over time, you know what I mean? You know, being more open minded and stuff and everything, I started to realize, hey, you know what? There was a lot of things I was wrong on. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that in itself actually was good for me, because now it helps me to be more at ease. Because, yeah, I don't really know entirely what is right and what is wrong regarding certain things and stuff, but I do know kind of how to navigate myself through this. And like I said, I'm more happier now than ever, because I don't have to be so like, no, it's this way, it's that way or something. Now it's like, you know, I can kind of like take it all in. I can have a discussion without having to be so angry. You see what I'm saying? You know? Thanks for watching this part of the full episode. Much more to be discussed in the next part, so give this video a like, leave us your comments and questions for us to reply to in future episodes, and stay notified on the latest episodes by hitting the subscribe button.